Hello everybody, it's JGReactor here, and today, rather than making a normal reaction video today, I'm going to be doing a reaction. By reaction, I mean I'm going to be describing my experience watching the movie Spider-Man No Way Home. I just finished this movie around like an hour ago according to my clock. I literally just finished going to see this movie because I was maybe a little late to the party. I just didn't really have like the plans. I wanted to go see it as soon as it came out. However, I did not have the capabilities to, but I did just see it. And today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts in both spoilerish and non-spoilerish sections. The spoilerish sections will probably be a longer part of this video, but the main point of this video is I'm going to kind of describe how I felt about this movie. So first, talking about some non-spoiler stuff. What's the basic plot of this movie? So now, after the stuff from Far From Home revealing that Peter Parker Spider-Man has happened, we already start off back where that last movie left off, and are just like having characters react to what happened. That's basically how this whole movie starts, and it's actually pretty interesting. I really enjoyed it. It left a lot of banter in there, some good moments for jokes, even some cameos from characters that I actually was really looking forward to seeing, because I didn't know they were going to be in there. And a lot of really great moments. For one thing, trying to clarify, this movie is very funny. Trying to keep things going. This movie is very funny. There are lots of moments in this movie that I laughed over and over again because I didn't want to be too loud because it's a movie theater. You think people want to hear you laugh? They want to hear the movie. But I did laugh at a lot of moments. The movie was very enjoyable, and I thought a lot of good moments were in it. I really like this movie in a lot of areas. Not every area though. I do have problems with it, similar to how I have problems with other stuff and other films and other TV shows, stuff like that. I have a lot of different thoughts on it, but overall, I actually really did like this movie a lot. Trying to discuss what I didn't like, though, there are a few things, which I can go over in a bit of the spoilers, which we'll go over to in a little bit. But overall, I definitely think this film had a lot of great moments. It was charming, and it definitely had a lot of the stuff it promised, as well as it was just a fun film. Would I put it over Far From Home, though? Because so far, Far From Home is my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie, and Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Like, in general, Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie, which I'm looking forward to the second Spider-Verse movie. I'm definitely going to watch that, as well as the part after, because it's a multiple-part thing. But I definitely found this movie was good. Would I say it's better than Far From Home? Because I love Far From Home. It's a great film. It's my favorite, but has this surpassed it? I honestly would kind of put it on the same level because I didn't hate it. I thought it was a really good film. However, there were a few issues I had with it, as well as the fact that while it was entertaining, there were a lot of scenes that felt like they could have been cut out or could have been added in, adding a lot more context or just kind of removing the unnecessary stuff. But I also understand kind of why they did it. It was kind of like to develop the story a bit. And there's some unexpected stuff too, like this one scene that when it happened, I was just like, holy crap, I was not expecting this. It caught me by surprise. I did not know that was going to happen, which again, I could talk about that in the spoiler section of this, which will probably be in within a minute. Overall though, I had a lot of good time with this film. I had a very good time. It was very enjoyable, and overall, I definitely found it to be good, but only on par with Far From Home. I think it was good only to the extent of that, because I find between these two, I'd probably want to rewatch Far From Home more, but I still think this movie had a lot of good moments, and I definitely would rewatch it, despite the fact I normally don't rewatch live action films, because it's just not my forte. I tend to stick to rewatching animated films. But with all that said, I don't really think I could say anything else without spoiling too much, so I'm going to just moving on to say the rest of this is going to be spoilers. So if you want to hear my final thoughts and like what my final rating is, you can skip. Like, I might put a timer here about when, here's maybe a timestamp to when I stop talking about spoilers and I'm at the conclusion, so if you want to hear my final thoughts. However, I have my own thoughts to say about this movie, so yeah, I'm about to enter a spoiler section. Let's just go. Let's just do it. So if you're still here right now, I expect some spoilers because we're about to hop into the spoiler section of this little discussion. So, one thing that definitely surprised me was definitely, I don't your mind here, the death of the one and only Aunt May. All because she said the one line you should never say in a Spider-Man movie. With great power comes great responsibility, because for some reason, it's like a cursed line where if you say it in a Spider-Man movie, you will die. That seems to be like a cursed like line that no matter what happens, if you say that line, you're gonna die. Aunt May's death definitely came as a huge surprise to me. I was not expecting it, and I'm just baffled that they did that. And it just caught me by complete surprise when it happened. I was just like, what? Are you kidding me? Is this actually happening? What? Oh my lord. But that was the only thing that kind of surprised me. One thing that also surprised me was definitely the cameo from Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. Now, the reason this surprised me was, hang on, I'm gonna put my headphones down for a second. The reason that surprised me was simply because I wasn't expecting it. Like, I knew that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were going to be in the movie, and I've seen plenty of spoiler pictures. I knew they were going to be in the movie. It was kind of obvious. However, I wasn't expecting Daredevil, because, like, the guy who becomes Daredevil, or is Daredevil in the film, I don't know. I wasn't expecting him to be in the movie because it wasn't, like, promoted or anything like that. I knew that some people theorized it, but it never hit me like, oh my gosh, he's definitely going to be in the movie. So it definitely caught me by surprise when it happened, because I wasn't ready for it. Another thing I kind of was upset about, actually, was like, I know this is like the first thing I'm mentioning I'm upset about. One of the major reasons I was upset about this movie was definitely how it handled some things, such as Doctor Strange. I get that he's like a serious magician or something. However, he felt a little like extra stiff in this movie. Like, he felt like he was way too much like, Peter, don't you do that. Peter, how dare you? Peter. He felt like way more like forceful with his dialogue. It felt a bit weird to me. Maybe that's how he's always acted, but I never noticed that. He's not a character I pay much attention to. But I still thought that he was fine in the film. I just wish that he wasn't so naggy, because that's basically all he is in the film. Another issue I had was definitely with the villains. I didn't hate the fact that almost all the villains with like the Sinister Six were there. I thought it was really cool. However, how they went about some of them really felt off to me. Like, I thought Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro all did a very good job. I thought they were developed quite well in this movie, although it doesn't really feel like Electro did much. Then there's characters like Sandman and Lizard, and, you know, those ones who just, they don't do much. They don't pretty much do anything. They're just kind of there. They don't do anything. So I really wish they got to actually do something, since I like some of those villains. As well as I was also kind of disappointed with the post-credit scene where they teased and Let There Be Carnage. Oh, look, Venom's gonna be in the MCU now. And then literally the next movie, they just sent him straight back to the Sonyverse. I guess that was a spoiler for Venom, but I don't care. But yeah, I felt like that was kind of odd. It definitely felt a bit awkward, per se, I guess you could say, but I still liked it. I still liked the fact that Venom, because they also teased that a piece of the Venom symbiote did stay in that timeline, like in that universe, which I thought was cool. I also thought the ending was insane. Like, I'm not sure if I love or hate the ending, where Peter Parker makes everyone forget who Peter Parker is as a person. Like, that's way more intense than everyone forgetting that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And that is just, it was an insane twist. Like, my brother said he absolutely hated that ending, but I thought, in my opinion, I don't know how to feel. I don't know if I loved or hated it. I can't say. Because it's just such an interesting twist, because it kind of sets it up for the comics as well. Because in the comics, I believe, I don't actually know that much, I've only read a few Spider-Man comics, but in the comics it seems like not even the Avengers know he's Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So basically they've kind of rewound time a bit, so that way nobody knows he's Spider-Man. It works out so well in a bunch of different ways, but also kind of infuriates me, because I know that that's the best way to go about this, but it still irks me. All in all though, I still had a lot of fun with this movie. I thought while there were several choices I didn't like, there was a lot more I did like the Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man battle. Was it entirely necessary? Well, kind of to the plot, but I still thought that while there were parts of it I didn't really like, I thought most of it was really good, especially with the mirror dimension being useful to the story, and I actually really liked the mirror dimension. I thought the mirror dimension was cool in this movie, as well as the fact that even though Doctor Strange wasn't in it that long, he played a pretty good role for a lot of it. As well as the fact that I also like how Peter's friends have much more of a part to play in this movie. In the past movies, they were just kind of there. Like, they did a few things here and there, you know, Ed hacked a suit and MJ helped a bit, I guess. But this movie, they actually put a lot more effort, especially into Ed's character, to develop them a lot more, even though in the end, time did get rewound and they never remembered Peter Parker. Which, again, it's a really weird twist. I don't know how to react to that. And overall, I both love and hate this movie so much. Oh man, I still put it up there though. I think it's right next to Far From Home. I think Far From Home is still probably my favorite live action Spider-Man film, as well as Spider-Verse being my favorite Spider-Man film in general. And this one's definitely up there. I liked it a lot, along with me being the only one in the world, probably, who actually liked Spider-Man 3. Oh, and that's why I was kind of looking forward to when Venom was announced to be basically in the MCU, even if it's just Venom and not Eddie. And yeah, I had a lot of fun time with this film. There were a few issues I had, but I also maybe I wasn't the only one, but for some reason I found the introduction of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire a little awkward. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's someone else, maybe it's everyone else, but I just felt a little bit awkward watching it. Like, I was just like, oh, they're cool, they're here, yeah, whoa. Like, I was looking forward to seeing them pop in, like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man swinging across a web, catching MJ or something, like doing something super insane for their introduction, and then they're just kind of there. They just kind of pop up, but they're just there. That was a bit unsatisfying, not gonna lie. It was very unsatisfying in some certain extent, but I also really like the fact that most of the movie as well focused mainly on Tom Holland. So one thing is that Tom Holland is the main focus of this movie. I am glad that they kept Tom Holland as the main focus in this movie. They didn't try to push him off to the side and push him forward nostalgia. They were just like, no, Tom Holland, he's the focus of the movie. His Spider-Man is this movie's main character. Focus on Tom Holland. And I really like that because he is probably the best Spider-Man out there. And I'm really glad they kept him as a focus, even with all this nostalgia, trying to push people forward. And I definitely think it's one of the better live-action Spider-Man movies. But again, I don't know if my opinion can really fit too well, since, like I mentioned, I like Spider-Man 3, but I really hate Spider-Man Homecoming. I really don't like that movie. But you can take my opinion as you want. If you like this movie, good, because I have my own opinion too. And that's why we're here at the conclusion of this little video. Overall, I can say I thought this film was good. Was it great? No, but it was good. And that's why I give it a solid, probably B+, 7, 8 out of 10. It was good. I'll just say 7 out of 10. I thought it was a good, solid movie. I liked it a lot, and definitely do recommend going to go see it if you're a Spider-Man fan. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you all for listening to this little review reaction thing. And I'm JGReactor. If you like this, make sure to subscribe. I probably won't do this type of thing much, but I thought I'd do it for this movie. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I shall see you all around. Peace.